How are you? I hope all is well. I hope you all are well. Hello, Amnan. Nice to be here on the show with you again. How are
Hello,
you?
Gisela. I'm fine, thank you.
Ah, good, good, good. Amnan, I really want guys out there, if you're listening to me, interact with me. If we don't get people to interact with us, then we think that maybe you don't like the show and we close it. So why don't you just tap on that chat box? Amnon here will tell you how to get to do that. You don't have to leave your email. You don't have to do, we're not going to be bothering with you. We just want to know if this is the right show for you. Is the mix the right? Today, we're going to talk about fermented foods. We're going to talk about antibacterial. We'll also talk a little bit about Lyme, what Lyme disease can do for you, uh, to your body. And I found out new things just lately, which I did not know Lyme could do. So if you like this kind of show, if you like what I am saying, the way it is presented, the way it is done, interact with us. This is your show too.
Right,
This is not just for us. So I'm going to tell them of
exactly.
how to do that.
So, just if you look to the right of the video or below the video, if you're on a mobile device, there is a field where it says enter your nickname to sign in. There's only one place that asks you to sign in. So, you can put any name that you want, any handle that you want. That's all it's going to ask you. It's not going to ask you to verify or anything. It's just going to take your word for it and put you in the chat. It's really not
Not
intrusive.
complicated.
It will not do exactly. And if you would like to call in and ask questions, it's 919-518-9773. Or if you want to use Skype to call us and without video, you connect to computers 2K voice. And then you can talk to Gisela that way. So
All
you have
right.
3 ways to get in.
Okay, we'll say it one more time during the show, so that you won't forget for those people who come a little later. But we really do want to have your feedback. Okay, we do get some people. I know that there are some people who are regularly asking questions. I appreciate it. I think it's great. It adds to the show, folks. It really does. It adds to it if I get your comments and we make it that way. It is your show. It's not just what my opinions are, but what you want to hear and what your questions are. I am a homeopathist. I have had extensive training and I learn every day. Within the last 2 weeks, I have learned probably more than I have learned within all last year. And the simple fact was that my husband got seriously ill and I wanted to help him. So what did I do? I went in and I went through my books. I went through Materia Medicas. I've been reading remedies. I mean, I must be reading 20 remedies a day, which is a lot because you have to remember all the symptoms of each remedy. So then I go back and I make notes. So that is how you learn. That is how I learn. And whatever I'm learning now, I hope I will be able to help my husband with it. But if I cannot help him, because sometimes in homeopathy also, uh, there is no solution. Sometimes it is just the way it is. Um, if it is something chronic, it is a little bit more difficult. And I have learned something about doctors in this. My husband was in the hospital And I talked to about 7 doctors. And what I found out is they are really great in acute treatments. They they are great. If you have an acute, you know the difference between chronic and acute, right? Acute is immediate now, you just got it, hasn't been manifested in the body yet. It's just has to be pushed out. Now, any disease, that's why they say early detection is the way to go. But the doctors are really focusing on acute. Chronic problems, they shove off to the pharmaceuticals. The pharmaceuticals, that's it, and that's the way to go. Well, you know, I come from a different end of the spectrum. I believe that many chronic problems can be solved by homeopathy, more so even than acute. I mean, I love acute cases too because you have a quick result, you have a quick referral, it's all good, you know? But I really rather have the chronic ones because I became a homeopathist because I wanted to help people, not because I wanted to get rich. I probably would have gone to medical school. Nah, I don't think I would have gone to medical school. I would have probably been kicked out because I'm such a renegade about about all of this. But I mean, making money with it is not the object. The object is to really help. And one thing that I have found with this is also, and we wanted to talk about ferment. This is the time of the year to do this fermentation. Now, it's been a lot in the news. It's been a lot and when you get into the internet, everybody talks about kombucha and everybody talks about eating sauerkraut and how to make it yourself and all of that. And we're going to explore that a little bit today, okay?
You know,
Because
there's one thing that a lot of people don't pay attention to here. All the countries that have socialized medicine, homeopathy is part of it.
oh yeah,
And that
yeah,
is the only way to be able to sustain, because there's no in many cases there's no reason to pay $500 for a certain medication when
absolutely.
you can pay a few pennies. And that's how they
That,
maintain their system. We don't.
right. We don't. No, because we are owned by the pharmaceutical
Yeah.
companies. So which was very interesting also at the hospital my husband was in. All of the doctors that I spoke to were Indian. And in
Mm-hmm.
India, homeopathy is king.
Yep.
It's huge. My remedies that I have at my clinic for sale, they all come from India because they those remedies I found are the most effective. They're well made and they are at an affordable price.
And they are
So
the
I don't
first,
have to charge $75 or $50 or whatever, you know?
right. They are the
So
first line of defense.
absolutely. The first line of defense it should be
Yep.
a natural health. Yes, absolutely. Before you go to a doctor, go to a homeopathist, go to a natural health practitioner, go to somebody that practices or an herbal healer, you know, acupuncturist, um, all of those people, and explore that entire world first. Maybe an acupuncturist was not able to help you, but a homeopathist will, or a homeopathist was not able to help you, but an acupuncturist will. So you need to explore the entire gamut first. Read up on it. Be educated. There's a great commercial on TV that was running for a long time. An educated customer is our best customer. And that is what it's really about. If you're educated about it, I was able to talk to these doctors. I told them right up front, I'm a homeopathist. I'm not interested in pumping him full of medicines and pharmaceuticals. We never have, we never will. But I am interested in your tests. I'm interested in your opinion. And I would like to have your picture of what is going on.
Right.
And if you approach that with your doctors, most of the doctors today will look at you and say, well, you're making my life a little easier because now I can talk to someone that understands. I understand the numbers. I know what they should be, what they should not be. Educate yourself. Okay, any kind of disease you have, if it's your pet, if it's you need to be educated. And the internet is such a fabulous thing to educate yourself. One of the reasons why this show exists, because I want to educate you. I want to tell you of what there is, what you can do, and what you might just consider with a little caution. Okay, so let's get right into it with fermentation. Now, what is fermented food really good for? If it is kombucha or if it is a fermented food, you can ferment almost anything, but one of the things is my thought was kombucha. I just made some this morning, and I make it from scratch. And I make it very unconventional, not the way most people make their kombucha. Okay, I have learned kombucha. Kombucha has been around 1,600 years. It has been throughout the world. The Russians swear by it. The Europeans swear by it. Now America is all a craze with kombucha. You can buy it. You can buy it in the health food store. You can buy it in the grocery store as a drink. Those drinks, I would really, I would be cautious because they contain, for the most part, a lot of sugar. You don't want to replace your soda that you've been drinking, which was chock full of sugar. And we know sugar is a poison, right? We all know that. I hope you do. And you know, those drinks don't have much health benefits. Here's what you do to make a kombucha. A kombucha you can make very easily. You take a tablespoon of white sugar and you put it into a large masonry jar. Make at least a half, I would say about 10 cups. 10 cups. You make 10 cups, whatever. You use a glass container. Don't use a metal container. Dissolve a tablespoon of sugar in there. Hot water. Pour hot water over it. Dissolves right quick. Now you put some tea leaves. Now here's the trick. The tea leaves is the most important. If you use Lipton, or if you use something that comes in a bag, you may run the risk of having contamination in that, because some of those teas that are made are not made so meticulously. And when you dip it into your cup and you just drink a cup of tea like this, it's not really that important. But if you ferment it, some of those bacteria may grow and may harm you. So don't use something like that. Buy a loose tea, and what makes delicious kombucha is green tea and black tea. Both of these make delicious, delicious kombucha. You can make with other teas also. You can use different teas. You can use, I don't know, you can even use chamomile. But chamomile does not have then the antibacterial and fungal fighting properties that you would have really with a tea made from green tea or black tea. Okay. Um, Chamomile tea is great if you have a small sore, or if you have a sty in your eye and you have a tea bag, or you have some chamomile tea, you steep it, let it cool, put it on your eye. The sty will, you put it on a couple of times with a cotton ball, just lukewarm. Your sty will be gone in a day or two. You have an abscess, acne, a few right around here. Many men get that right around here. They get real boils. Take chamomile tea, brew it real strong, put a cotton ball in it, and press it on it, warm like. Leave the rest on, take the cotton ball off. In a couple hours, I'll do it two to three times a day. You'll see that that boil will be gone in a day or two. Okay, so chamomile tea is great for that. For kombucha, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet. I wouldn't put too much in it. But we are going back here now to the way I made. I made black tea kombucha this morning. So I just put in my sugar. I dissolved it with hot water. I threw the tea leaves after it. Okay, and I usually take a pinch tea leaves for 10 cups. It's like whatever you can hold between three fingers. Okay, it's called a pinch. And I threw that in. And then I put in 1 tablespoon of white wine vinegar. Many of these websites that you go to, they are trying to sell you a starter. Forget it. Don't. You can make that yourself. You can save your money. Just put a tablespoon of white wine vinegar in there. Stir all of that real well. Put a cotton cloth over it, secure it with a rubber band. Put the whole jar into a cool 15 to 20 degree temperature. I have a nice pantry that I can put it in, or put it in, put it in a darker place where it doesn't have too much light.
You mean 15, 20 degree below what's in the room, not 15 degrees, because that's like a freezer.
No. Yeah, below what's in the room. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. So it should be room temperature, where you feel not cold, but it's not really hot. Okay, you don't want the fermentation to be too fast. That's why sauerkraut is made in the fall, because the temperature are cooler, and they put then the sauerkraut in the cellar where it is cooler. You probably know that, Amnon, because they do that in Israel too.
Right.
The Europeans, they make sauerkraut, they make a lot of fermented vegetables. So they put it into a cellar. You can put your kombucha right beside it. I'll tell you in a minute of how to make sauerkraut and all of these other things. But that is just really the right temperature. And then forget about it for at least 7 days. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Just leave it alone. After 7 days, you take a small straw and you put it under the cloth into it and take a little sip. See what it tastes. Does it taste sour? Does it taste, is the tea becoming cloudy? That's why I like it in a glass jar, because I can see it. Is the tea becoming cloudy? Is there a sponge forming up on the top? Okay, and then it has tendrils that go into into the tea underneath. So up on top, a small film is starting to form, and that's called the sponge or the mushroom. And then there are tendrils going down into it, and that makes it. It should not take longer than 7 to 10 days that you have this little mushroom up on top. Then you just siphon it off. What I do is I don't put a strainer on it. I just put a knife right on the edge of the jar and slowly pour it, decant it, so to speak, slowly pour it into a different container. Don't throw that mushroom away. Make tea right away again. Use that mushroom now. Don't put any more vinegar into it. Okay? Did we get this all? Hello, everybody out there. Did you get it? Just type in yes.
That mushroom is now called the mother.
The mother, absolutely. Yes. Yes. Now, you could use also a little apple cider vinegar, if you have it.
For the second time.
Instead of the white vinegar.
For the second time or for the first time?
No, for the first time.
Okay.
You only use vinegar the first time to make it.
Yeah.
After that, you always use the mother to make new.
There was one thing that Debbie taught us is that when you do it the second, third, fourth, you take the mother and you actually peel. There is a fresh one and there is so you can't keep the whole thing or it's going to become a foot deep.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you what to do with that top part. Okay. And yes, that's absolutely right. I'm so glad you said that, because many people, they just throw that whole thing away. That, you know what? You buy that stuff on the internet for big money.
Mm-hmm.
So don't throw it away. Now, what you do with that then, you make the new tea with the mother. You just make it the same way. Put sugar into a jar, dissolve it with hot water, put your tea, excuse me, please. Put tea into it. Now when it's cooled off, not boiling hot, you put the mother in, cover it. It makes new kombucha. But what you do with that peeled off is you dry it out a little bit. And you can cut it if you have a dog. You can cut it and you can give it to your dog to chew on.
Huh.
For the most part, they love it. And at least I've been told. I haven't done it because I haven't made kombucha for quite some time. The reason why I'm making kombucha now is because apparently my husband got very ill because he had a tick bite a little while ago, like about a month or two ago. And I treated him, but it wasn't infected. There was no redness. There was nothing really. So I said, I think you're good. And I gave him some Lidum. But apparently it was an infectious tick. So now I want to start cleaning his system because he's going to be taking amoxicillin. And I want his digestive system to stay at an optimum. And I want also that antibacteria property of kombucha to be in his system. So that's why I'm making it now again. And I will give it then to when I researched it again, what I found out is that many people, if your dog has mange or has an itch problem. A lot of dogs have a lot of itch problems. They have a lot of sensitivities with their skin. Put a small amount of kombucha depending on the size of the dog, um, over the wet food, not over the dry food, but over the wet food, and give them the mother that you have peeled off. Now, one of the things is when you research kombucha on the net, there is a lot of negativity towards it too, and I can tell you where that comes from. When you have had too much, you don't drink kombucha by the cup. You drink kombucha by the small glass. You have a small glass like a shot glass. Once a day, that's all you do. You don't drink it unless it's very thinned out or so on. If you are living in the city and you have fluoride water, you have your water is chlorinated and laced
Fluoridated.
fluoride. Yeah. Don't use that water. It can damage your intestines, and they have found it can damage your veins. So please don't do that. Use bottled water, not distilled water. Distilled water is a dead water, and that is not suitable. But, use a good bottled water, and then you'll be fine without any, additives or anything. All right?
There's a question.
Yes.
How do you add flavors like ginger or cranberry?
Oh, easy, easy, easy. Now, depending on if you want cranberry, you got to be careful. Cranberry, if you use the cranberry extract, then the whole thing will be very sour. You have to add a lot of sugar. But here's the thing, what you can do with that. You can use a couple of drops of maple syrup to that. So here's what you do. You put into a glass, let's say you want to have a bottle full of cranberry kombucha and a bottle full of blueberry kombucha. So you can use whole cranberries, mash them, add a little bit of maple syrup to it, mash it again, and now pour the kombucha over that. It flavors it beautifully. You can add a little more water to it if you like. The same thing you do with the blueberries. With ginger, be careful that because it is also very strong, so use only a few slivers, okay? And grate it. Grate the ginger. Put a teaspoon in a bottle full. I have, old wine bottles and so on, I save. And then I rinse them and I put the kombucha into that. And I can flavor that any which way I want. You can flavor it with ginger. You can flavor it with cinnamon. If you're diabetic, flavor it with cinnamon. Just put some cinnamon sticks in there, or put powder in, and then shake it real well. But after you've had the flavoring, you have to let it sit for a day or two for it to be absorbed. But don't let it sit for too long if you use fresh fruit, because then you may have a higher alcohol content than you want, because fermenting produces alcohol. And you want to, but you can always, if you find that it is too much and there you really have like an alcoholic taste to it, then just add more water to it. It just thins it right out, and then you can have it. But the health benefits are not increased by doing that. It's really more so of a flavoring. If you're using kombucha for health benefit, drink a shot glass a day and you will be just fine. Your digestion will be fine. Your mental alertness, and I made some little notes here. Your mental alertness will be greater. Your overall all feeling of health will be better. Many people have undiagnosed candida, and kombucha fights against that really very well. Also, a fermented yogurt that is added, and you can buy them in the health food store now. It's a bottle. It's a bottle, and it comes out rather thick, but it is fantastic. And it's lactobacillical, and it's not this pill form. So it's already so that your body can take it up right away. If you use the pill form, your body might not be able to take it up right away. Okay. So that is definitely a point. If you have candida, or if you have a lot of aches and pains, and you're always sluggish, and you don't really have much memory, and you're no motivation, and so on, you may have candida. And that is, it seems like it's so prevalent, it's unimaginable how prevalent it is, and how doctors are not really acting on that. But you can. And kombucha works for it, lactobacillic fermented yogurts, they work for it. And here's another thing. I love vegetables. I just love all kinds and I like sour things too. So what I do is, and I have done in the past and this year, since my husband is sick again, so I'm going to make it again. And I'm not crazy about sauerkraut, but I love cauliflower. Cauliflower, carrots, sweet potato, watermelon rinds, pumpkin. Pumpkin, I love fermented. And what I do is I cut that into small portions, the raw fruit, clean it, cut it, and then you pack it into a jar. Now, you can use a glass jar, never ever metal, but if you use a glass jar for any fermentation, you have to put the jar into a dark corner. You can't keep it in light. It won't ferment right, okay? So I pack it real tightly, and I put my spices right in there. I like, for instance, with pumpkin, I like pimento. And I put these pepper pimento in there, and I put a little bit of, you can put a little bay leaf in there. You can put a little fennel. You can put rosemary if you like. Rosemary goes really well with carrots. Okay, and cut the carrots in sticks, small sticks like this, so they're easy to pick out. Pack them real tight. Each layer you salt, sea salt, and then you make a brine. You make a brine with sea salt and water, hot water. Again, like you did with the sugar and the hot water. Make the brine, pour it over the fruit or vegetable. Do not put a lid on, screw a lid on, but put a cloth on it, secure it with a ring or with a string, and put it into a dark corner. Every fruit, the harder fruits like cauliflower, they take a little longer to ferment. The softer ones, like pumpkin, you can have it in 5, 6, 7 days. The other ones, maybe 10, 14 days. I've had some in a jar that I've had for a couple of months. And I brought out for Thanksgiving, I always do. I always bring out fermented pumpkin. Why? Because everybody overeats and you sit there and hold your stomach and groan and well, have a couple of slices. Red beets lend itself. Have a couple of slices of red beets or pumpkin with your meal, and you won't feel quite so full and, sluggish. The fermented fruits or vegetable will help you digest, a great digestion aid. So if you do that, you will weather through the winter with much less colds. You will have a healthier body. Your whole system, and especially when the weather gets so that, like in the east here, we will have some darker days where there's no sun. Thank God we have only few of those here. In Germany, we have a lot more. The days really get dark early, and I mean, that was one of the reasons why I left, because I couldn't stand the weather. But we still have some of that here. And if you use fermented fruits or vegetables, not so much fruits, but vegetables really, or drink a glass of kombucha every day, you will weather that much easier. Your mental alertness will be better and more. Now, one other thing is that really works for the winter time is barley water. Anybody heard of barley tea? I
Bali?
have it right here. Barley tea. And you can buy it online.
How's it spelled?
It's barley, Barley.
Barley. Oh.
Yeah, yeah, the one that you eat also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not use the barley that you buy in the grocery store and make tea from that, because often they are not treated to have, there's an outer shell to that, and there may be some bacteria in there that will only be removed when you boil it. So you could use it if you want to boil your tea, your barley. Okay? I don't even boil it. I brought from China with me lots of barley tea. So I can make, probably to the end of my days, I can drink barley tea. But you can buy it also online. It's not expensive. And here are some of the health benefits. It also fights candida. If you're not into for the fermented and sour stuff, it also fights candida. It improves digestion, mental clarity, and mood stability. Same thing as the fermented foods do, but here is a tea. And it's delicious. I don't use at all white sugar for anything but for kombucha. I usually use agave or maple syrup, a drop of maple syrup or honey for a sweetener. I don't use anything else. And I think I would suggest you should not either, because white sugar, like white rice, is poison. You should not be eating that or ingesting it. I mean, nothing is going to happen to you if you eat at a Chinese restaurant a little bit of white rice with your Chinese meal. But if you use white rice 3 times a week and you buy it in the grocery store in the package, it may not be so good for you, because all it will do is increase cholesterol. It will hamper your digestion and will really not benefit you at all. So I would use brown rice or black rice, and we've discussed that before. And that is what what you should be doing. Here's one other thing that I have found, which I do want you to know. In the beginning of the show, I had said that my husband was diagnosed again with Lyme, and he had he couldn't walk. He couldn't walk. He wouldn't eat. All he was like, he was comatose. That's why I took him to the hospital. And we found out that the Lyme has caused a drop in sodium. It was dangerously low, his sodium. So be careful when you treat Lyme. Don't let them tell you about doxycycline. Take amoxicillin. If you cannot take penicillin, well, then because you're allergic to it, many people are, then you have no other choice. But Lyme is a second cousin to syphilis, and syphilis can only be treated with penicillin. I've said it many times before, and I'm saying it again. So be careful with that. Get diagnosed. If they tell you you are negative and you suspect still that you have Lyme, or you still have symptoms, and you have sluggishness, you have joint pain, you can't walk, I mean, he was so deathly ill, I was afraid that, so he's going to get treated for that. Unfortunately, he has some other problems too that we don't know yet of how to address that. But at least the Lyme part will be resolved after his 3 weeks of amoxicillin. And Leadum Pal, Lestrade, excuse me, Leadum Pal Lestrade, 1 LM, you take every day, and your kombucha or lactobacillus, because that's what you need for your digestive health. So there you have it.
There are some questions when you're done.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
First, and I don't know if you answer, is there a different procedure if you use cider vinegar?
No, it's the same.
Okay.
It's the same. But if you use here is the thing. If you use apple cider vinegar, do not use the regular apple cider vinegar. Use only the unfiltered one.
The what?
The unfiltered one. The one, the Brach. There is B-R-A-C-H. Brach, apple cider vinegar. It makes the kombucha, when you make it with that, much softer. It's not quite so hot, quite so sour.
Okay.
Makes it softer.
Now, what about using brown sugar?
You can. I have not found that it works that fast. I want to have kombucha in 7 days. I don't want to wait 10 or 14 days. And there's often a lot of molasses in brown sugar. Brown sugar is not anymore the brown sugar that we used to have, that real raw. If you buy it in a health food store and it's real brown sugar, the original sugar, okay, then great, wonderful. If you have that, makes great. Takes maybe a day longer, but makes great kombucha, yeah.
Okay. And we're beginning to hear it again on the news that we need to get flu vaccines and all that.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah. Conundrum, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, guys. I mean, I wouldn't take one. My husband doesn't take one. My animals don't even get vaccinated, and I probably have the police here at one point at my doorstep for that one. But no, I don't believe in vaccination. But you know what? Everybody has to do what they think is the right thing. You know, go with your gut feeling. If you have if you have a healthy immune system, you should be able to fend off most everything. Um, don't use the antibacterial wipes and thing everywhere, because your immune system can't really work very much if they have nothing to fight ever. Okay. So I don't use antibacterial stuff either. Use some kombucha, use some fermented products. And if you can't make it yourself, use at least some barley water. That is easy to make. I mean, you can make every day. You can, like, for your afternoon break, make a barley tea. Have it in the morning. Put it into a thermos. Put the tea in there with the barley in there. In the afternoon, have a cup of that. You'll feel much more elevated. Your immune system is rallying again a little bit. Um, Much better idea, in my opinion. And here's one more thing that goes against that, is the flu vaccines. They are only against the predominant flu that is right now hanging out there trying to attack people. But they're what? 20, 30, 40, 50 different flus, bacterias. You're not protected against all the others. You're only protected against that one that is the most predominant. So, I don't even play the lottery. So, there. you know, I mean, what can I tell you? The odds are just not good enough for me, you know? So,
Yep.
but it's up to you. It's really up to you. You have to don't come afterwards and say, Gisela, you told me not to get the flu vaccine, and look at me, I'm on my deathbed with the flu. No, don't do that.
Is
Don't do
there
that.
is there a homeopathic um, vaccine replacement, whatever, to the shingles?
No.
Okay.
No.
All
What
right.
you do is, if you ever, here's what I can tell you on that. If you have gotten poison ivy a couple of times in your life, if you know you had chicken pox one time when you were younger, if you have had often in the winter time that you get easily a cold sore, every time you have one of these little, or aftons, those inside your mouth that hurt so bad, um, if you have anything like that, take a dose of Rhus Tox. Rhus Tox. RHUS, second word, TOX, Toxidoran. Rhus Tox, it's usually. Take a dose, 30C. It will disappear right away every time that you have a little outbreak like that. And the first tingling, when you get shingles, you don't get shingles overnight that it's everywhere right away. Usually what happens is there's a tingling in the skin, you get a low-grade fever, you feel a general malaise, and wherever the shingle breakout will be, the skin will be very sensitive. If you have it on your face or on your body or on your arms or so on, that area will be very sensitive. Take immediately Rhus Tox. You may still get the outbreak, but not as bad as it would be if you don't take it. Rhus Tox is a fabulous, fabulous remedy against any any blistering outbreak of skin. If anything that is blisters, painful, oozy, take Rhus Tox.
Okay. That's it.
Great. Oh, thank you guys. You were wonderful. Thanks for all the questions. I appreciate, see how much and how the time flew away here. I mean, I enjoyed that a lot. Thank you very much, guys. I see you next Sunday with a new topic. You can Twitter me. Tell me if you like me to talk about something. If you like me to talk about, oh, by the way, just before I leave, kombucha, flea and tick spray, put it into a bottle, spray your dogs and cats. Works like a charm. Tried it. We've had all this tick infestation here. Tried it. My animals don't have any more ticks. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Have a great week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, My Life, My Will with Gisela DiCarlo, The Tanya Love Show, Health Then with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Triangle Be Well with Howard Jacobson, Lunch and Learn with Rabbi Yisrael Cutler, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, Current Affairs with Amnon Nissan. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section on nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Atomos.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.